The most influential figure in NASCAR just experienced the worst moment of his life inside a courtroom. And a legendary racer has revealed something nobody ever expected. Inside a federal court in Charlotte, the case between NASCAR and two racing teams hit a major turning point. Three high-ranking men took the stand. What they said under oath stunned everyone inside. Let me take you through exactly what unfolded when the lawyers started asking the tough questions. Jim France went first. He's the 80-year-old chairman and CEO of NASCAR. His family has controlled the sport for more than 75 years. He almost never speaks publicly, but on this day, he had no option. He had to answer questions under oath. The attorneys for Michael Jordan's team and Front Row Motorsports were ready. They had emails, documents, and evidence, and they began questioning France with very specific details about how NASCAR handled the charter negotiations. One of their first questions was simple. Did he remember the details of those talks? France's reply shocked the entire courtroom. I don't recall. Then they asked about certain meetings. Again, France said he didn't remember. It kept happening. Question after question, France either gave extremely short answers or claimed he couldn't remember. People watching couldn't believe it. This is the man who leads NASCAR. How could he forget major business decisions like this? The attorneys showed France emails with his name on them. They asked whether he remembered sending them or reading them. France struggled to give straight answers. Sometimes he said maybe. Sometimes he said he wasn't sure. He never gave confident responses. One lawyer asked directly about NASCAR's negotiation strategy with the teams. Did NASCAR give teams a real chance to negotiate? France said yes. He insisted teams could have walked away if they didn't like the deal. He claimed NASCAR wasn't forcing anyone. But then the lawyer revealed documents that said something very different. They showed NASCAR gave teams a hard deadline. Signed by September 6th at 6 p.m. or lose your charter. The attorney asked France if that sounded like teams truly had a choice. France tried to defend it. He said teams were smart business operators. He said they knew what they were signing. He said the deal was fair, though his voice lacked confidence. Legal analysts watching said France appeared uncomfortable throughout. Then came questions about the clause where teams had to promise never to sue NASCAR. France was asked why NASCAR needed teams to give up their legal rights. What exactly was NASCAR afraid of? France said it was normal business practice. He said NASCAR wanted stability, but the lawyer challenged him. Most businesses don't force partners to give up all legal rights permanently. The lawyer asked whether NASCAR was worried teams might sue because the terms were unfair. France denied it, but he couldn't explain why NASCAR needed such extreme protection if everything was supposedly fair. Judge Kenneth Bell watched all this closely. Several times he stepped in. He told France to answer more directly. He said, I don't recall wasn't acceptable for some questions. The judge wanted clear answers. In one moment that spread quickly online, Judge Bell made a sarcastic apology toward NASCAR's lawyers. NASCAR's attorneys had been objecting constantly. The judge was clearly tired of it. His sarcastic sorry made it obvious he wasn't actually sorry. He was warning them to stop interrupting. Legal experts said they had rarely seen a judge show such frustration toward one side. It was not a good sign for NASCAR. After 2 long hours of tough questioning, France finally stepped down from the witness stand. It was a disastrous appearance for NASCAR. Next came Steve Phelps. He's the president and COO of NASCAR. Unlike France, he was directly involved in the negotiations. The lawyers were eager to question him. Phelps was asked to describe the final round of talks with teams. He said NASCAR presented what they called their final offer in September. He told teams this was the best deal they were going to get. Take it or leave it. The lawyer then asked how much room teams really had to negotiate after that. Phelps admitted there wasn't much. NASCAR had already made its decision, then they moved to specific teams. The attorney asked about discussions with 23X Racing, Michael Jordan's team. Phelps's expression changed immediately. He looked irritated just remembering it. He said, working with 23X it was difficult. They kept pushing back on terms. They kept asking for adjustments. They wanted more revenue for teams. They wanted different rules. Phelps described the whole negotiation as frustrating. The lawyer asked why it was so frustrating. Was it because 23X was being unreasonable or because they were asking for fair treatment? Phelps said, no, it was frustrating because NASCAR had already settled the terms. 23X wanted to keep negotiating while NASCAR was finished negotiating. The attorney paused, then asked the crucial question. If NASCAR was already done negotiating, was it really a negotiation at all? Or was NASCAR simply dictating terms? Phelps tried to explain that NASCAR had listened to teams earlier in the year and considered their input. But in the end, NASCAR made the final decision about the contract. The lawyer pushed harder. Did any team suggestions make it into the final agreement? Did NASCAR accept any of the changes teams proposed? Phelps admitted the final contract was mostly what NASCAR wanted. Then the questioning turned to money. Teams wanted a larger share of revenue. Did NASCAR truly consider it? Phelps said they discussed it, but chose not to change the split. NASCAR believed the current structure was fair. The lawyer then showed financial comparisons with other major sports. NFL teams receive around 48% of league revenue. NBA teams get 50%. NASCAR teams received 25%. The lawyer asked Phelps why the percentage was so much lower. Phelps argued that NASCAR is structured differently. NASCAR owns the racetracks. NASCAR promotes the events. NASCAR handles responsibilities. Leagues like the NFL and NBA do not, so they deserve a larger share. But the lawyer pointed out that NASCAR owning both the tracks and the league might actually be part of the issue. When you control everything, teams have no alternatives. Phelps disagreed. He said teams benefit from NASCAR's model. He said charter values have increased. He said teams are financially stable. The attorney then pointed to teams that had collapsed or struggled. Several race teams have shut down in recent years. If they're doing fine, why are they disappearing? Phelps didn't have a strong answer. He said racing is expensive and some businesses fail, but that happens everywhere. After Phelps finished, the court took a break. Everyone was buzzing about the testimony so far, but nobody expected what would follow. Richard Childress then approached the witness stand. Childress is a legend in the sport. He has owned a team for decades. He's won championships, he's widely respected, and unlike the team suing NASCAR, Childress actually signed the contract. The lawyer asked him a straightforward question. When you signed NASCAR's charter deal, how did you feel about it? Childress inhaled deeply. Then he said something absolutely nobody saw coming. He said he felt blindsided by the whole process. The courtroom froze, blindsided. This man signed the deal, yet he felt blindsided, Childress explained further. He said NASCAR's tactics caught him off guard. He said the deadline pressure was overwhelming. He said he felt he had no real choice. The lawyer asked him what he meant. Why didn't he just say no like 23X and Front Row did? Childress became emotional. He said saying no would destroy everything he built. His team supports hundreds of employees. He has sponsors depending on him. He has drivers whose careers rely on him. If he refused NASCAR's terms, all of that would collapse. So even though he believed the contract wasn't fair, he signed because the alternative meant losing everything. The lawyer asked if he felt pressured by NASCAR. Yes, he said without question. As the court day ended, everyone knew something huge had just unfolded. Jim France struggled heavily on the stand. Steve Phelps admitted NASCAR didn't really negotiate, and Richard Childress, a team owner who signed the contract, testified that he felt cornered into accepting something unfair. The trial took a major turn, and NASCAR is now in serious trouble.